My official entry video into the Get Out of Your Comfort Zone group build as hosted by Russell Goslin and Hamilcar Barkas, i.e. Michael. Right guys, the reason I actually chose this particular model is because one, I'm a great big Formula One fan. Two, I am a great fan of Ayrton Senna, who's a particular inspiration of mine. And three, it's something I've never done before, is build a Formula One car. As I say, particularly because he's a hero of mine. This is why I chose this subject. But it was not my original choice. The original entry would have been the Fujimi Lotus 97T, which was the last Lotus to spare the John Player special colour scheme of black and gold. And it was also the first car that Ayrton Senna won his first victory in Portugal in '87, I think it was. But the delivery quoted to me would have been nearly a month, so that would have left me little time to possibly get this entry completed on the group build for. So this was my alternative, and I think it's more fitting because this particular car won 15 out of the 16 world races in the 1988 World Championship, and it was also the car that Ayrton won his first World Championship in. And the third fact is this was also the car that actually has a record of being the fastest ever qualifying lap in the history of Formula One, which is still unbroken today. And I can't remember the time Ayrton set, but he described in a video I previously shared called Remember Senna, whereby he describes his out-of-body experience during that qualifying lap, and he would never feel he'd achieve that ever again. That was his limit. That just shows you how committed the man was to his sport. I just think it's a shame that we were robbed of him in '94, because I feel that had he lived and he survived the accident, his world championship battle between Michael Schumacher and himself would have been one hell of a bloody battle that year, and one of the closest seasons, and I'm sure Ayrton would have won it. He would have gained his fourth world championship. Having read his book, The Life of Ayrton Senna, which I wholeheartedly recommend you get, it is rumoured that he was in negotiations with Ferrari to have his last 3 years with them and would have retired in '97. So, food for thought, my friends. Anyway, enough waffle. Let's get on with the inbox review itself. The illustration on the front of the box, as you can see, is one of a series that they do of Ayrton's cars in the McLaren. It is basically a technical drawing of a side view of the car itself, which I think is the most beautiful, aesthetically looking cars I've ever seen. I know that Lewis Hamilton had the lucky privilege 2 years ago of driving this car a few laps around Silverstone. I think it was featured on the Top Gear tribute to Ayrton. So, I would just love to have the opportunity of driving this car. I really would. But there you go. It's an ambition of mine, but we'll see. If it ever gets fulfilled, I certainly will film the video. I can tell you. Anyway, let's get on with the review. And as is usual with my videos, I will give you the kit number if you want to get hold of this particular kit, because I got this at the pricey sum, believe it or not, of £18. And I can't remember the seller's name, but I will find out, my friend, and I will quote your name on my monthly update video, which I'll be doing soon. Alright. The kit number itself is 89719/2800. That's 89719/2800. Alright, my friends. Right, first off, let's have a look inside what's in the box. First off, you got the assembly sheet. Again, same illustration as is on the box. History of the car, etc. Then you got your colour callouts, which you can cross match from the Hobby Colour app, which I mentioned in my previous video. First off, you apply the essential parts of the steering column to the main cockpit of the car, which you see there, along with the side vents for the radiator. Second process is the assembly of the shift lever and the gear stick, which was one of the last manually gear sticked it sounds good, doesn't it? One of the last manual gear stick F1 cars to be in production. I forgot to mention also, this was one of the last turbo cars of the turbo era, because obviously in '89 it was banned and they went back to aspirated racing cars. Anyway, enough said on that subject. Again, you've got the addition of the radiators to the main cockpit fuselage, and then you add that to the lower part of the chassis along with the diffuser. Okay, and then it's adding the other components of the radiator inlets and the steering and seat into the car, which the belts are moulded in, which is rather nice. Then you add the brake shoes, I think that is. I'm not quite sure if that's... Well, I'm not quite sure. You'll have to bear with me, guys. I'm not a car modeller and I'm not mechanically minded. But anyway, you add the steering wheel to the steering column, which is beautifully detailed, I must say. Then the assembly of the engine block, rear suspension, and I don't know what that is. I think that's part of the diffuser which goes on. Then you add the rear light, put the engine block into the chassis, and then add, I don't know what this is if this is the main air filter which is added to the engine. Someone will have to give me a comment on that. And then you've got the main inlet valve, okay, which is applied to the radiator as is positioned on there. Again, I'm not quite sure what engine part this is. That may be part of the same sort of system again. Sorry guys, as it should be positioned there. That's the air inlet valve. Oh, I think it's part of the exhaust as well, sorry. And then more engine assemblies, which you see there. Okay, and adding the rear suspension. And then you've got the main drive shafts, which I think are added onto the engine block, along with the anti-roll bar and the rear radio, which you see there. Okay, and the final part of the suspension, which is applied to the upper part, the steering column, as is lined up there, and the final assembly of the engine. Okay, and then your rear brake pads. You've got the wheel hubs, which have genuine rubber tyres. Okay, and then they're added along with the last components to the main chassis, including the brake shoes, I think. I'm not sure. Then you've got the assembly of the rear wing. And then finally the assembly of the upper fuselage shell, which is applied to the main chassis along with the wings. Okay, so that's the assembly. And then obviously on here you've got the colour callouts. Now I have to say I'm a bit disappointed because they don't actually mark out where the red part of the car goes, so I may have to do a bit of research on that or source aftermarket decals. Okay, right, let's get on to the main part of the kit. First off, you've got the upper body shell, which you see there, beautifully crisply moulded, much to the original vehicle, which you can see there. You've got the inlet valves, part of the engine, the radiators, you've got the roll bar, which you see at the back there, and part of the wing assembly, rear wing assembly. Beautifully moulded. Not an ounce of flash, which is normally with Tamiya. But yeah, I love it. And I don't think you glue that on, you can just actually snap that on. I may be wrong. Then you've got the front windscreen, which you see there, and the rear light. Lovely and crisp. Okay. Then, next sprue, we've got the wheel hubs, brake pads, part of the steering column, which you see there, beautifully moulded. I think you can get aftermarket sets for this, but I just think, I don't think we need it, because I think the detail on this car is superb, and it is my first Formula 1 car. The third sprue is the actual cockpit itself, which you see there, and the engine block. And this is a nice touch. They've moulded the seat belts in, although you can get aftermarket etched brass sets for it if you wish to do so. And I think also Tamiya do a figure of Ayrton Senna, or I don't know if it's still available, but I'm going to leave it out. Okay. And then obviously you've got components of the engine there, and there's your radiators. Look at the fine detail on that. Again, you can get etched brass aftermarket accessories if you wish to do so. And there's your engine block as well. That is beautiful. I just love the detail on these. Okay, and then obviously you've got your rubber tyres, which you screw onto the model. And I think they actually went to Goodyear to get the research done on getting these absolutely accurate. Okay. They're quite thick, genuine rubber, and they'll look super. And also with that, you've got the Goodyear logo, if I can get it in the right light. Sorry guys. Here we go. If I can get it in the right light. There you go. I think you just simply rub that onto the wheels. It's like Electroset. So yeah, rather nice. So that's that, and then obviously lastly we've got the decal sheet. But as I say, I'm not so sure about doing the red panel lines. I might have to think on that, or I may well take the ease option and get some aftermarket decals. Okay, but nice, crisp and clear. Alright. So that, my friends, is the 1/20th Tamiya MP44, which is my official entry into the Get Out of Your Comfort Zone group build. I hope you approve of my subject, guys. That's referring to Russell and Michael. As I say, it's not something I've done before, and obviously because I'm a bit of an F1 fan, I thought, well, I'm going to do an epic car. So I thought, what better than to do this? Also as a tribute to Ayrton himself, who we tragically lost 21 years ago on the 1st of May. So, if you like the review, subscribe, leave your comments, and that's it for now, guys. I don't know when I'm going to get started on this, because I've got to do a bit of research, and good news is I've got my new airbrush through, so I'm going to try and see if I can get this completed in the next week. Hopefully in time for the end of the Mike Cohen tribute build. So yeah, it's working out again. Anyway, until then, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll see you in the next video.